Welcome back to What's the Truth podcast. Thank you for being with us today. Today we are honored to have a very special guest with us, Mr. Boniface.
Yeah.
Karibu.
Asante sana Bwana Amos, thank you so much for having me. My name is Boniface
Yes.
Maina, and I am born again. I'm smiling first of all because I'm born again, because it's a very good thing, but because my wife told me I have to tell people that I'm born again. That's just beside the point. I'm born again. I'm a father of 3, married to 1 female wife, a businessman in Nairobi, Kenya, and that is it basically. I'm also a student. And that is basically it as for now. An aspiring something, but I'll not mention that one for now.
Yeah.
So basically, let's stick with those 2.
So being a businessman, then I think today we'll mostly delve deeper into you being a businessman. However, I'd like to start all the way in the beginning.
Yes.
Grew up in Nyeri. What was that like? How has that influenced you to who you are today? Any things that you think you've picked up from Nyeri? Any positive or negative things?
Yes. I'd say both negative and positive. For the negatives, we've worked with so many of them. The issues of self-esteem, where you feel like you've come from a very long, you've come from the up country, and you're not really as par with the other people who are in Nairobi, in terms of class and stuff. That's the negative, but you always deal with those ones. Then the positive is the elements of humility, because some of us were brought up in very humble beginnings, humble backgrounds, plenty of suffering. So that one really brings the humility inside you and makes it very top-notch in terms of the capacity of humility that we just value and just have is too much, and it's very good. So that one also in future comes to translate to a very good virtue in terms of the elements that are needed in business.
So you are mostly a private person, but of late, I believe you've been more open with the perspective of you want to use your life to also inspire others.
Yeah.
So you've been open about the fact that you lost your mom when you were quite young.
Yeah.
As well, you had a lot of challenges with meeting your needs, both schooling and also just generally personal upkeep.
Yes.
So ideally, usually the main mindset that people pick is what you would sometimes call as a poverty mindset, a needy mindset, or something like you're stuck.
Yeah.
However, you seem to have moved away from this. You thought of yourself like you could be more, you could build more. So what are some of the things that you think have built this mindset? What can you attribute? Is there somebody in particular that you feel might have brought this up?
That's a very good, first of all, you've done your homework so well. Good job.
Yes.
That is really what it is. And I'll attribute that one to, number one, to God, because God has a plan for all of us. The plan is always to do us good and not to harm us. So the Bible in the book of Jeremiah says, "For I know the plans I have for you, the plans to give you a future and to give you a future and a future and
Hope.
Yeah, hope, right? So God has this plan from time immemorial. He had a good plan for all of us. And that one, in one way or the other, has to be accomplished through his power, right? So that's number one. Number two, you realize that it's always within yourself to succeed or to fail. It's within your mental strength, within your mental belief. That if you are set here and you've set yourself there and you put yourself down, you fight yourself, there's no way success is coming your way. But if you set yourself loose and decide, I am going for this, I'm going to put 1 + 1, I get 2. I think of how I can do 2 + 2, I get 4. I get 4 + 4, I get 8. Then you're going to be multiplying from the ability of belief within your mindset. So all these elements, plus having a family in terms of church, people who are preaching and every day instilling faith and instilling hope, having friends who believe in you and who believe in your ability, believing in yourself, bringing the best environment in terms of the people that now you work with, the people that you listen to, what you believe in. Then all these factors come, and when it's set for you to go, it's like the 10 lepers. They were there, they were saying, if we stay here, we die. If we go, we might as well die.
Yeah.
But which one of the two is better? Let's go. If we die trying. So that kind of mindset really awakens the lion in you. You go for it, and you realize when you're coming from that perspective, you even stand a better chance of becoming a winner, because you know you have everything to lose. So you fight so diligently, you fight so strong, you fight like a real hero, because you know you have a lot of things that stand your way. That's basically it.
So you brought two things up.
Yeah.
You brought the aspect of deciding to actually move forward.
Yeah.
So that would be an inflection point or a turning point. As well, you've also brought the aspect of getting support from others when you do take that step to move forward. So what have been some of the turning points for you, and how do I build a network of people who support me if I make such risk-loving moves? Or not, sometimes we wouldn't even call them at risk-loving. Sometimes you have no choice.
Let me tell you one thing, Mr. Amos. The people who are around you, the people that you know, and some that you don't even know, are always watching you. All right? The people who've never said hi to you, but they are always watching you. The people that you talk to, but you don't really have a lot of vibe in terms of talk, but they are looking and they know about you. They can say something about you in your absence, and you'll wonder. Like now you are telling me about Nyeri, and you didn't even think you know about Nyeri. All right? So we might just be saying hi in church and stuff, but I don't really know if you know about Nyeri. So the things that you do each and every, the diligence in your life, or the things that you do every day, the integrity in your life, there's an audience that is really looking into it, or the bad picture that you portray to people, they are always looking onto that particular personality. So my turning point was based on the same. So I used to work somewhere in a church. I was getting 1,000 shillings a month, but I was working diligently. So whoever led me to my previous boss was somebody who I didn't even know, or even know so much that they know anything about me, that they can speak well of me to somebody else. But kumbe, they've been seeing me, they know that I can perform when given a chance.
Yeah.
And that's what linked me from where I was before to what made me become who I am, because now it's from the experience of my past job that I was able to set up my own business. All right. So that is my connecting factor, that people are watching. Be diligent, do good, be hardworking, be that person in and out of people's sight. Be yourself, know yourself, and God somehow just makes people and that right person see you and connect you to your destiny.
So most of us are employed.
Yeah.
A greater population.
Yeah.
And it's scary to make that transition. We all want to make the transition from being employed to owning your own business.
Yeah.
And owning your own business to the fact that it's able to upkeep you and also get to a point where you grow. First off, how do you get to a point where you make that change? Because I do believe at the time you were not earning so much, yet you still were able to move from being something more stable to believing in yourself and starting a business.
Now, number one, this one might sound, I don't know how this one will sound, but not everybody is meant to start a business. All right? There are traits that if you don't meet, don't even dare start a business. So a business is not a shortcut to success. Okay? A business to some people is even more of a calling than just something that you choose. It has so many principles that if you don't adhere to, then you're likely to fail in business. Right? So there are people who will always be in employment, and that was what was best for them. So there is another talk of how do you become diligent in what you do, right, under employment, because if all of us go into business, then who are the people who are going to be working for the people who are going to be in business? So there is a formation of, first of all, is to understand the formation. If you know that you are self-driven to drive things and to start things and to run them, then that one might be a strong force calling you into business and into your own establishments. But there are people who will only work under instructions. There are people who will never call a shot. There are people who will never make a decision. There are people who will, but they'll be very good in the back office. Right? So as long as they're given a task, they do it. But give them a task of deciding what's going to be done. They are stuck and they can't grow and they can't do anything and they are freezing. And that's, so you can't force everybody into business. But now for those people who have the calling, who have the urge, who have the ability, who have the desire to even try, because sometimes you try and then you realize, maybe it was not my thing, let me go back into employee, because it's not every line or every career that has that opportunity of becoming a business person, right?
Yeah.
There are careers that you can only be employed by the government, being employed, because there are farms that you can't start. You can't start your own police station.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So unless now you want to venture into something different, but if you are called into these matters, now I've qualified, I'm looking for 5 thieves to start a police station. All right?
Yeah.
You can't do that. So there are those ones that you will not be able to. But if you are indeed called into these lines, then you understand that the principle number 1 is always based on knowledge. All right? Knowledge, there's something called capital. There's something called, that's the starting capital. There's the knowledge of the product that you're going to be selling. And then there is the market. How is the market space? How is the field that you want to venture into? How is it performing? What are the likeliness of the market that you want to venture to grow? What are the challenges facing the market that you want to venture into? What are some of the challenges? What are the prospects? What's the future of that market?
Yeah.
You have to understand plenty of these things before you engage into that particular market. But once you are there now, then it's just a story of growing and developing and becoming better each and every single. But before you get there, do your homework. Do your homework. And this is a free advice to everybody or to anybody that might be wanting to come from being employed into starting your own business. And I think I've said this in so many ways and to so many people. If it's passion-based, it's likely to work. If it's money-oriented, it's likely to frustrate you. Because there's nothing new under the sun. All that you see has been done, and it will continue to be done in future.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's passion-based, you will wake up thinking about that job, sleep, eat thinking about that job. You will have plenty of ceiling of loopholes that other people don't manipulate because you love that kind of thing that you want to get yourself into.
Yeah.
Automatically now, when you have the knowledge, you have the capital, you understand the market, your chances of maneuvering and becoming very good is top-notch and very high.
So we'll talk about market in a minute.
Yes.
But so here you've decided to venture out.
Yes.
Did you start with the name Decibel Audio, or was that a couple of iterations?
Actually, that name came after the name that I really wanted. I wanted a name that was called Impact. All right, so my first company was called Impact Sound. And just as I've said, you understand that we don't do plenty of research. You have a name, you don't know registration, you don't know research. If the name has somebody else, then you are there marketing and selling.
Yeah.
Then when now I'm told you have to do a license, then I'm going to do a license, and I'm told before you do a license, come with a search certificate to verify that indeed this name is yours. Then now I'm asking, what are these? I'm told, no, you could have done this way before you even started your company. So I'm there with my Impact Sound. I'm told, sorry, this one belongs to somebody else. So every printing material that I've done, every post, every marketing, blah, blah, with that name now has to be pulled down. And then now thought of Decibel Audio. So Decibel Audio actually started as Decibel Sounds and Entertainment Limited. That's a company on its own. Then we have another company that now I think has been known as Decibel Audio Kenya. That's a different company altogether. So the decibel is a unit of measuring sound. So you measure sound by decibels.
Yeah.
So the same way you do kilometers, centimeters, then in sound we say decibels. So decibels, that was just a vision of me saying that we are going to be the determining factor in sound. If you've not measured it, then it's probably not correct.
Okay. So what does Decibel actually do?
Decibel as a company now, we started as a public address company.
Yeah.
First, we were just doing hiring, but that's long ago. But then when we started sale, we started in terms of public address. So public address is these microphones, these stands, speakers, guitars, keyboards and stuff.
Yeah.
But basically public address is not even guitars and stuff. It's just the speakers, the microphones, the amplifiers and stuff. Then we upgraded into music instruments. Those are now the keyboards, the guitars, the violins and stuff.
Yeah.
Then later on, still we went on to bring lighting system. So we have public address, we have music equipments, and we have lighting system. So lighting system is basically for events, for stage, for church, for entertainment joints and stuff. Yep.
So technically, your business would be classified as quite niche,
Yes.
low volume,
Yep.
high value.
Yep.
What are something that, because it's ideally outward looking in, this is a bit of a high risk. However, I'm guessing with really, really good analysis, the risk becomes lower. So for you to venture into it, what are the opportunities that you saw in such a business model?
Okay.
How did it change how you attack the problem?
Okay. Now there are so many business that anybody can venture into, and there are factors and characteristics that each one of those businesses attract. Okay, or are pillars, or that are factors that are known, that are very common. If you start a normal known business that everybody is a partaker in terms of consumption, you will say the risk is not high because the number of people who can come and consume that product is a lot.
Yeah.
I've heard of people who saying that the easiest business to start is hotel, because you start with the food that you can eat for supper. All right. So if they buy, you cook more. All right.
Yeah.
You say clothes or cloth line, because you say you only bring your size. Okay. If they don't buy, you have plenty of attires to wear.
Yeah.
So in terms of risk, it's minimal. But again, how many people think of the same line? A lot of people, because if you look, or if you do your statistics, you'll realize that there is a possibility of people fearing to take a risk. That's number one. But then on the other side, you understand that there are things that need to be done and have to be done. So the risk, where there's more risk, there's probably more profit, because few people are engaging in that business. And it's not even because of the risk sometimes, it's because of the consumption levels, or the numbers of the consumers that you expect, because ours is very specific. It's either we are dealing with schools, churches, mosques, entertainment joints, institutions. That is it. All right. We don't, like in our space, we don't sell household speakers. We don't. So ours is just the big speakers for either church, blah, blah, and this stuff, open market and stuff. So there's a friend of mine who ever asked me, so how do you make money? How, when a church, because they only know of that one church that they go to. So they were even telling me, for example, our church, we've not bought sound for the past 10 years. Where have you been eating? So they only know that one church.
Yeah.
So it really shows that it's not really a populated by design. So of course the capital in terms of running this business is quite high sometimes.
Yeah.
Because now again for you to be able to bring in a whole set, then it means it's a lot of money. The consumption is not really that high in terms of the expectation of the number of people, because now in business, again, you have to talk about numbers. So we are competing from a very small box. But basically that is it. It's basically high risk, because like just an example, when COVID hit, there are things that could never be stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. People still had to eat.
Yeah.
Still had to travel here and there, because now there are those with special cards and stuff. But for our case, actually, the government was fighting us directly, and we really understood, because the government was saying we don't want people together. And our work is to bring solution when people are together. They can communicate when they are together. So our work was done and dusted at that particular moment. When a government, was it Sri Lanka, when their economy was really doing bad, among the things that they cut to when the dollar reserves are minimum, they are dying and they are not there actually. They minimize on imports of these unnecessary things. So what are some of these unnecessary things? It's like what we do, because you guys you only now remain with things like medicine, foodstuffs and stuff. You don't consume dollars with importing sound.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a high risk indeed. But again, it's what we know, and it's what we found ourselves doing. And when the time came to decide between, do we do what we've been doing, or do we change to go to the popular and maybe not so risky, we still chose this one because now we know if you are equipped in this particular kind of engagements, then you stand a chance.
So you called it competing from a small box.
Yes.
So ideally, then your market and customer are quite specific.
Yeah.
So how do you differentiate yourself? Because you've called yourself that your business is not even the actual asset you sell, it's quality assurance.
Yeah.
And the knowledge-based information that comes with the purchase.
Yes.
How do you differentiate yourself from, because also your customers seem to be quite discerning. They are to some point quite knowledgeable about what they need.
Yes.
How do you outbeat the market, the people you're competing with?
Now, let me tell you about the beauty of what we do and the beauty of what other people who are succeeding in business is. When you have the knowledge, you have the power. Right?
Yeah.
Let me say that again. When you have the knowledge, you have the power. When you have the power, you have the control. When you have the control, you manipulate. Mm-hmm. When you have character, you manipulate positively. I think I'll not be able to repeat the whole statement because it was just coming, because it's what I see when I see this, I see this. When I see this, I see this. Yeah? But basically, knowledge, as everybody knows, is power. Mm-hmm. Let me give you an example. When I started my own shop, I didn't have plenty of stock.
Yeah.
But I had clients who came in, so many of them, and told me, we can see you don't have all this.
Yeah.
But we need these things. So kindly source for us good equipment, add a margin, then get us good stuff. So they are relying on my knowledge of good stuff and giving me a leeway of doing it's like a broker now. Like now I'm a verified broker because I am known and they even know.
Yeah.
All right. So they've left all this shop. My shop is on downtown there, first floor somewhere, very close to a loo. Mm-hmm. But they are there with us and they are sitting. Get us good things. Just because the knowledge I have, they know is power. You will go to people who don't even understand what they are selling. I've even seen shops that they ask something with a different name. Same product, but a different name. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. They say, we don't have that one. But you have it. But you have it there. Oh, that's what it's called. So it's even their client who is giving you information on what you're selling. All right? So the power is in the knowledge. When you know what you do, then you are very valuable.
Yeah. And
people now will follow you. And now again, when you have character and personality, because now you will not manipulate negatively. Just because I know now Gonga Bay. No. You manipulate positively, understanding that you need this class tomorrow. Yeah. And even if they go to a next shop and ask about the price of what you sold them, if there's a difference, it's very minimal and that one cannot bring any form of issue. So power is in knowledge of, it's called product information, product knowledge. Know your niche. Understand what you do so that hata ukakuwa umelala hivi, Mr. Amos, you can be asked about accounts or about what balance sheet. It's very easy because it's what you do each and every single day.
True.
So that's the thing.
So you brought up something that you've mentioned that has been quite a huge determinant for your business, which is, let me holistically call it your credit score.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned that when you were starting, you had a shop and you didn't even have stock. Your stock was still coming in and people were coming to store their things at your shop. And if you sold them, which probably would be looked as credit, you'd take your margin and give it back to them.
Yeah.
Now, as well, your business is inventory heavy.
Yeah.
So meaning cash flow management sometimes can be a bit of a challenge because the capital injection is quite high.
Yes.
What does credit look like for you, both on the client's end? Because are they paying before you actually deliver? Are you getting loans from the bank, or are we? Sometimes people go to Shylocks.
Yeah.
How's that been for you and doing the business?
Truly speaking, it's quite heavy in terms of capital.
Yeah,
But we look at the margins when we were starting, the margins were not bad in terms of the interest from the banks.
yeah,
I think that time that was during the Kibaki era. I think it's when they had a standard rate of, I think, of 14%, all of them. And our margins were not bad. We were doing, I think, 25-30% margin. So you still, alafu for the banks, it's 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year, then you repay with the 14% interest. And then with the kind of speed that we will move and push our goods, we will do at least twice or even thrice sometimes a year.
Yeah.
So you still have a good margin in terms of how much we were able to manipulate. But starting off now, I did not automatically go for loans.
Yeah.
I am not, actually, this might sound controversial, but I'm not really a fan of loans as per se. I don't encourage loans especially for startups and for people who are still developing, and if you are not out there in terms of you know exactly what you are doing, you can even swear and say, I swear I will get this money back, right? I don't really encourage people to go for loans. So I did not really quite do loans as much. I embarked on my personality. That's integrity. That's trustworthiness. That's good reputation. So people could trust me. And then I used the knowledge now to push their goods. I even manipulated now them and told them, for me to continue selling your goods now, give me a good price, lower than that which you give the clients. So that now I can get a 500%, I'm not 500 shillings margin from their product. Because to be honest with you, the first month, my wife can tell you, we used to sell coast to coast. I get this cable at 4,000 and sell at 4,000. True story. And I don't even mind, because I know I'm maintaining my clientele.
Yeah.
My clientele is my most honored and most trusted and most valued element in business. But now that's after God, right?
Yeah.
So I will maintain a client any day. I will even sell undercost up to date. I'll sell undercost. I've sold undercost so many things, because now this client has no any other money. It's below the cost. But then again, this customer has been my customer for a very long time, and they'll probably still come back.
Yeah.
So these things, you sometimes follow plenty of principles here and there. But for me, it was just that trustworthy, getting these goods from. At some point, of course, I had to take a loan of some money. I repaid, then took. Actually, I've only taken 2 loans in business. This, I think, I've never told anybody.
Okay.
I've only taken 2, and as we speak, I don't have any other loans right now.
Yeah.
Because I am still developing, and I'm still not. I still want to be assured of the stability of the business in terms of these cut points and stuff. Okay, so that was it. I just worked from the diligence and from the knowledge perspective and from the trustworthy and from the small that I was building, because now I didn't have any major projects.
Yeah.
And I don't still encourage people to engage on major projects when your business is still developing. Because sometimes you're going to eat up your whole capital. You want to buy plots, you want to buy what, you want to buy a car. I bought a car, I think, way later. And even the car that I bought, that was a loan as well. So I think after taking 3, because I paid some money, then the others I paid within the rest of the. This was like a higher purchase for my first car. But that's basically it. Just balance from the positive perspective. Don't go all hungry into loans. You don't even understand your market. You don't even understand the challenges. You're there with your loans. You're going to become frustrated. Decision making becomes very, very based on your problem, not based on factual and realities. It's you are solving problems because the bank wants their money.
Yeah.
You end up closing your business.
So I'll touch on something that cuts across a couple of things, and you've brought it up quite highly, is relationships, which cuts across both on investors and what you'd go as far as to call sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So from my understanding, you've been a bit vocal about this, is your hugest relationships are God, and then your wife, and then customers.
Yeah.
So again, I've not heard you talk about this, but would be good to get your view. Where do your employees sit? That's one.
Yeah.
2, when you look at how to fund the business, at the capital end, we are talking about credit, and your wife invested in your business, as so did you. Have you gotten any other type of funding into the business, or it's mostly just credit? And then now towards the sales and marketing, you have your brand is very well known. How do you build this brand awareness?
Okay. Now let me start from that point that you talked about. The factors that are really important to me are so many. And that category is correct because number one is God, because God will always come number one. Then when I talk about my wife now, I talk about my family because it's just from there where you originate. So my wife and my family, it's top notch. Then we go to our customers, because even when we're talking with the staff, we tell them the people who made us to be here directly is these people called customers.
Yeah.
If they decide not to come here, then all of us will go back and try to look for something else to do. So let's value these people. And then now the number 4 is those staff that we have. I have a powerful team. I've always had a powerful team.
Yeah.
And this is a topic for another day maybe, but the power in the personality or the picture that you see from the staff is a true reflection of who the boss is. So if you have very rude personalities and people who are very rude, don't care, attitude and stuff, that one directly or indirectly portrays what their boss is or what the principles or what the boss really stands for. Most of the cases, this is the case. Because if they realize that's not what they stand for, then automatically they remove these people from their staff list. All right. So I have strong belief and I have strong value in staff. I have treated my staff with utmost respect, utmost value, because I know, like now we are here. It's on today? It's on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I think midday.
Yeah.
So work is still going on.
Yeah.
As diligent as actually yesterday we were watching a movie here with my beautiful wife, and at some point we really got emotional looking at that movie. I think I'll suggest to you maybe later. It's a group of people who decide let's work for so many reasons, but among those reasons is because we have a good boss. So I've had the same scenario. I was telling my wife, this is so me in so many occasions. There's a time we had a big problem somewhere and we had to do plenty of things, and things were being done at night, and we were working, and everybody was just saying, let's just do this thing. It had to be done. It's part of our job.
Yeah.
And they did it until morning, right? Not expecting any form of pay, any form of anything. And I felt now this is a true reflection of the value that you have shown them. So that's very important.
Yeah.
So I'll not dwell so much into that, but that's a value that I value. And actually amongst the people I've worked with now own their own shops. Right?
Okay.
The recent one being my assistant manager, who in the past 2 weeks have opened their own shop. I supported them. We had a party for them. We did support. We took some of the stock from our own stock and gave them. We funded their
Transition.
Just in a good, because we believe in them as well.
Yeah.
All right. And so many other factors that maybe you can talk about at a later date. So you talk about the funding of the business being solely from that. That is correct. My funding purely is from profits.
Yeah.
And from now, sometimes you the goodwill that you get from people now, people who have stuff that you don't have, they can give you a wholesale price and then you resell. But now we have been able to bridge that gap to be able to have most of our products being our own products.
Yeah.
And your last question was, what did you ask? I think I got lost. You asked about, what was the other question? I think I'm forgetting.
To come back to us. I've also feel like I've lost it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to touch on staff just a bit.
Yes.
How do you source for good stuff? Because that's something people get.
Now,
Yeah.
I have a culture, right?
Yeah.
I have a culture that is so unique to me. And I have had so many people ask me for a job. And I always pray that I get a different kind of a business that now can bring in anybody as long as you are qualified for that job.
Yeah.
But for the current job that I'm doing, I only bring in people that I have an understanding of. So I'm not even, and I don't even, sometimes, most of the times, actually, I think all the times, I think we've never gone for a professional. We have never gone for, you come with your papers, you have a degree in marketing and stuff.
Yeah.
We might not even take you because we don't really look into that perspective. We look for personalities that have character, that has a good name, right? That can withstand pressure truly from what I know, from what we know.
Yeah.
So we have brought in people who have a calling or even have education based on a particular line, but we changed what they do. All right. We have people who are very good in sales, but they never thought they could be that good in sales. Right. But just because they have a lot of patience. So I look, what I look for is all these good personalities. You are very charming, you are very humble, you are very intelligent, you are very you are basically a good person. Then now I can come and teach you how to sell, teach you what to say, what not to say, how to make a client happy. How we've had so many scenarios where, why not for that personality, we could have messed the reputation of our company. So that's how I look for workers when I'm looking for staff. And I don't even call them workers. I call them workmates because we work with them together.
Yeah.
But that's basically how I saw them. I just come and say, actually, there's one I told my wife yesterday. And he's a security guard somewhere at a building where we have a studio. So I told my wife, that guy, I'll employ you one day. That guy is a security guy. They earn very small money. But my wife asked me why. I love the personality of that young man. That young man, plenty of so that's how I do my handpicking. Mine is more handpicking than just
Character first.
yeah.
So I'll just take you back a bit. You spoke about the funding model or the capital structure of your company being it 100% family owned.
Yeah.
We see sometimes where people do the misgiving of you want to grow really quickly. So you go and bring outside equity or even outside debt. How do you keep this discipline to curb the appetite for growth with growing it with profit? Because growing it with profit is actually, you have to be very patient.
You have
How do you keep this discipline?
any business is either starting,
Yeah.
it's either developing, or it's there. It's an established business. So there is no in between there's no in between. Hey, that's a nice one. Eh? All right. So there's no in between those ones. Eh? It's either you are starting and you are thinking of now what do I do? What? Then there's a developing stage where it's what if, can we try this? Okay. Then there is developed business where it's established and it's firm and it's an entity that is stable. So for them that are in the third tier, the third level,
Yeah.
you can easily now bring in investors because nobody might even, actually the people who know that you are, people know the company, not even you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So at that stage now, then you just want to go outburst. The systems are working. They've been tried and tested and they are working perfectly. The reputation, everything is just perfect. Then now you can bring in other people, other investors to come now and just make it boom.
Yeah.
But if you are still starting, still developing, you stand a risk of bringing in investors who have better visions than you. They'll even come and make you employers of their own company, your own companies. You will become an employee of your own company because now don't be hungry for this profit sometimes, because until you have a stability, it's like a house. You don't just because you have the money, you don't start with the roof, or you don't just pop. If you're told foundation has to stay for 21 days, ipatie maji for 21 days, let it be firm enough to be able to hold the whole structure. All right. So, but when the structure now it's all over there and you are now doing fittings, now fittings, that's a complete house. You can even live in that house without some of these things.
Yeah.
So then you can now bring in everybody. The plumber is fitting the taps. These other interior guys are doing blah blah, because now there is nobody interfering with anything. Everything has been said. This wall is for this for this. So that's basically it.
So you're of the business thinking of depth over width, more what you'd say one basket of eggs and look at it the whole time as opposed to so many baskets. So you've gone as far as to say even how you started the business was you only sold one product. So you were known for this one product, being microphones. And then you slowly brought in everything else. So for this business thinking, explain to how does it work when you pick that line?
Yeah. Mr. Amos, everything you see it in other things as well. That's how if you want to know if you are on the right route, everything you do, you should see it on other things that are not even human.
Yeah.
All right? Or that are not even things that are related to what you do. When a child is born, the mother focuses on just one particular thing for 6 months. That's breastfeeding that kid for 6 months. Then from there, now you are told, introduce soft foods, right? Then the soft food has to be very soft.
Yeah.
Sometimes even during our days, our mothers used to do a very funny thing, right? They chew food for you, and that is not so good, eh?
Yeah.
Right? So, but that was it. The food has to be very soft, and not every time. You don't even introduce fruits at that particular moment. Then later, when the kid is growing, it's eventually going to be something until they're now 18, and now at 18, they're even told, dude, go and get your own house somewhere.
Yeah.
That is how life is. Look at everything. Everything has to start from somewhere. You focus on that thing, grow that thing, build it up to the next level, build from there, expand from there. Everything good, everything known, everything that works uses that formula. Why not a business? All right. So a business will follow the same concept. And if you try this other thing, if you come across a 1-year-old who is driving a car, what will you call that one? Witchcraft, okay?
Yeah.
Because it's not normal. It is not normal. Okay?
Yeah.
Even if they verify that they have a driving license, the stipulations of the government is you have to at least be 18 years, and so it's not about the experience. You might have the money, but you don't have you are not up to that level in terms of what you can handle.
Yeah.
Of what, if anything happens, of where will you run to? You can be a jack of all trades in terms of jumping here, coming here, doing this. You have to focus on something, perfect it, going to the next one. Even in school, we are taught the alphabets, A to Z. Nowadays, it's called Z. We used to call it Z. All right?
Yeah.
So the Z. You can't go to a school the first day, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. No. You're not. Just A. Then you go sleep. Tomorrow the homework is, what was it? A. Good. Right? Then the next day you're told, now say B. now. Then it was B.
Yeah.
Then you say B. Then you are told, you have to remember the A. The A. I want the B. Now you have to combine A with the B. Then it goes on and on and on and on until now you become learned. Then you go to a junior school, you go to a primary school, you go to high school, you go to a university, you become now all this.
Yeah.
Because now you have vast knowledge, but you started from Abukudu. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
So let's talk a bit about the business environment.
Yeah.
So I'll start off with you've gone as far as to even mention global environment, but I'll try to bring it down to the Kenyan perspective.
Yeah.
So you started your business, as you mentioned, during the Kibaki era.
Yeah.
So how do you think it's been over the different governments that we've had? Mm-hmm. What has the business environment been like? How has it been improving? Were there inflection points where things went bad?
This thing has been, I think everybody has their own experience depending with what they do.
Yeah.
But everybody will agree that anything post-COVID, the dynamics change. Even if you used to sell, I don't know what, or everything just took a different dimension. And from there, we got into a field that we are not familiar. Mm-hmm. A field that is now everybody's trying, because even the best of the best were actually I'm failing at some things because they thought they were the best of the best, but now things have changed. Even the people who are introducing these things
Yeah.
are not even aware of how far they can go. So it's like, let's push it until there, then see the new. So everything changed, and how fast now you adapt into the change and how fast you can predict the future, then the most chances that you stand. But let me say, during the Kibaki era, things were a bit, compared to now, things were a bit manageable. Like the standard rate in terms of the interest rates from the banks and from the institutions, and especially the banks, you just having, and then the micro, and then what is it called? The SMEs, the introduction of the SMEs, okay? Small traders have played a major role, and that's who we are, the small traders. We've bridged a very big gap, and that was really happening so much, I think, during that period. Now the closure of business is very high. So many people are closing their businesses. The transition from physical shops to online shops is now another thing as well. The knowledge of now the transition, because why are these people who are going this way? How do they do? Do you have to go back to school and do IT again? So these changes here and there now have disqualified so many people, have frustrated the people who even are still there but still looking stable, but they're not really stable. And it's really a big change, and things are not getting any better in terms of history. But I think it's an expectation. Things have never been the same from, I think, time immemorial. Whenever there's a change of guard in terms of even governments, sometimes there is a change of operations.
Yeah.
And now you have to just either adjust yourself or step down.
So this government have been saying they're really focusing on SMEs and MSMEs.
Yeah.
However, we are seeing a lot of business closures, as you rightfully say. So what's not working? Is it because, as we know, taxes have been going high? Is it the business environment that's wrong? Is it that government spending has gone down, but as well, we're not also quite certain because they've been saying austerity, but we are not seeing it?
Yeah.
What's the challenge?
Now, let me get political now. Let me not get political.
Okay.
But it's one thing I would really want to venture into in future.
Yeah.
But as for now, I think there are so many factors, cofactors, and very, very many things that are happening right now, right? The environment, first of all, the environment to just help a business grow. It's not very friendly right now. The amount of money being taken away from the business is not making the business grow. The ground at which sometimes you operate. Because there's no way, for example, you're going to import. If you're an importer, we used to do like 3 times a year. Just because there's a swift flow from the manufacturer to the port, to the warehouses, to your shops, and to selling, and then again doing the cycle again. So that one, sometimes you find there are plenty of hiccups here and there. You'll order goods in January and get them in the month of July.
Is it because the port processes have become slower? Or
I'm saying there are plenty of factors and co-factors. If I go deeper, it becomes political. But that is exactly what it is.
Okay.
Every level of good that was there has been manipulated somehow to become slower. And I think now the whole issue of corruption really comes in. Right? Because we have seen plenty of back and forth. Nowadays, you see, like we had an issue. Recently, we were discussing with some few people somewhere. Like what we do right now, we sell public address. Then there is a city county who does not, then there is NEMA, who do not want you to test anything beyond any level of dBs because that's noise. Right?
Yeah.
Then I'm asking myself, or we are asking ourselves, when a customer comes and they want to hear the maximum power of that speaker before they buy it, how do you show them? Is there a practical way that they have proven to us that you can test without adding the volume? No, they want to hear it practically, and it automatically within maybe 1 minute go beyond that level. All right. So even some of this implementation of some of these hardline stance from some of these bodies are killing businesses, because now if I have to test use minimal volume a speaker for a client, how will they verify that truly it can go outdoor and perform as they want? All right. So do I have to take NEMA letters every day to be testing speakers? You can't. All right. Then when you have it's really become, I'm telling you, it's factors and cofactors and the name after cofactors, I don't know it, that one, and then it goes to the other one.
Yeah.
Deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So I think it's becoming harder. And people are closing, but somehow they have to fight back. So I hope even the government is able to understand and to bring friendlier terms in terms of operations, of how business is being then harassment, of course, from officers and staff, all attributed to levels of corruption again, because these things are there. But because I'm not into politics right now, let me not talk too much.
Yeah.
Let me talk about God and business.
So I'll ask you a very controversial question, which I think for most of us it's a bit of difficult to see, especially if you're employed.
Yeah.
And also as well if what you're involved in is business to business.
Yeah.
So however, you have an element of business to business and business to customer. So some of these things, as soon as they happen, you're able to see them directly.
Yeah.
So the only other people who would see this would be people who work in government.
Yes.
You don't need to explain, just a yes or a no. From what you can feel on the ground, are we saying that there's an increase in corruption between the last government and this government?
I'll abstain from that question.
Yes.
Just because, 10% level of corruption to 15% or to 8%. So that one, I've just confused you because I've told you it's either higher or lower.
Yeah.
Still remains as corruption. So there's no small and big corruption. As long as you've made your way illegally into some place, or you've made a rule out of your own power, and gotten something out of it, however small you've gotten, it's still not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Right. So I will not answer that question, not because I don't have an answer, but it's because it's still there. Corruption is still there, and it's still doing the harm not only to businesses, but to every other department in this country.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I know you're positive about your business. Are you positive about the business environment? Do you see it changing or improving anytime soon?
We are the stakeholders, and we have to make it work.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no way, there's no way things can stop. That's number one.
True.
Things have to be, as long as we are alive, vindu vichenjanga. All right. As long as we are alive, things have to keep on running. So we are the people who have been mandated right now. However small scale we are, from our small scale capabilities, we have to make things work. So we have to look at things positively, and we have to keep on now becoming better in terms of thinking, in terms of what we are going to do or what we can do. We have suggested and actually formed plenty of associations, that if you are a group of people dealing with the same things, come together, form an association, so that when it comes to that point when you want to air your voice, you have a platform. There are things like the business communities. All right, you've heard the Nairobi business community. That's a voice of a lot of people who come together, and when there's an issue, then the uproar is from a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
So we've been to a luta continua. Things have to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did do a business and I did it in light industries. That was in Kariobangi. I had a small, I picked a small warehouse. I had a bakery and everything.
Yeah.
Not the usual cakes I was doing, food processing as we'd call it.
Yes.
And one of the challenges is business is quite unscrupulous. So you'd find guys would go as far as bring the regulatory bodies against you because they are friendly or they have bigger pockets.
Yeah.
Even suppliers, sometimes they would stand in your way, or even customers.
Yeah.
Technically, they'd use cash against you because you're a smaller fish.
Yeah.
As well, even without competition being a challenge.
Yeah.
The regulatory bodies, city council, is it NEMA, is it health, because I was in food processing. They actually, how have you been able to manage with it, especially being the fact that you're in CBD, so you can't run away from city council?
Now, our challenge is not even city council.
Yeah.
Big ups to city council. That's a joke. No big ups to you. Anyway, our issue is not, for every level, there's a new devil. Okay? So currently, I will not say city council, NEMA being really an issue. my current kind of an issue is has really drained me this year. Okay. And we had to fight positively. So fighting positively is looking at what you've said. The people who have money, the people who have the rights, the people who not even to do bad things, to buy brands, right?
Yeah.
Amos, can you read for me the name on that microphone? It's called Beringer. I hope you can see yours. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Beringer. So there is a person who has the distribution rights for this particular brand. It's a very good brand.
Yeah.
Okay. That is already a monster in the house, because if you have a lot of money, then you will get all the brands, right?
Yeah.
And it's a fact, and it's not a bad thing, because now it's your money working for you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But how now do the rest of the people survive? You go and buy every other name now. Canon is yours. Which other name can I see here? Which phone is that? iPhone is yours, right? You go. So all these things, how will the other people survive? All right. But then we have to be innovative. I've told you, aluta continua. Things have to keep on going. Now we've taken a very strong stand, and it's working 100%. And now we've killed the giant in the house.
Yeah.
Like Decibel now owns 10 brands. Its own brands. Right?
Yeah.
Christian Heritage, Voice of Heaven, Kinetic Energy, HY products, Alloy Smith, okay, Copper and Tin, HY. Did I say Christian Heritage? I did. So all these brands are now owned by Decibel.
Yeah.
So we are bringing industrialization. We are bringing, and this is now verified from KIPI. KIPI is the body mandated for brand registrations.
Yeah.
So this one is now verified. We have papers and all the stuff. Now we approach manufacturers. We tell them, this is what we want. This is the brand. These are the specifics that we want on that particular speaker or microphone or mixer. Make it more louder. Make it last longer. Put more ICs here. So from the knowledge that we have, then we're able to manipulate the quality from the source. Cabs now have no problem with us, because now the quality is even higher than that which was there in the market before. All right? The body call anti-counterfeit will have no problem with you, because now you have KIPI, who is a body of the same. So they work together, and they have not verified that.
Yeah.
So you only now deal with who? With the clients now selling to your clients. So some of these challenges are not bad. Right? So when you encounter city council, probably you are selling mandazi.
Yeah.
You are selling cakes. You are, like the cake industry is the one that you are doing is really, you need to be supported more, because that is a whole manufacturing industry that I think even the previous government, and even maybe this one, is really pushing funds towards. Funds or interest, maybe interest, not funds, I'm not sure. But that is it. We ought to be manufacturers, and we ought to be innovators, and we ought to create things. That's how you bring up the industry, even from an East African level to an Africa giant to even a worldwide competitor, because we cannot keep on importing. We have to be innovative. And I have always said this one, let any government in place support these ideas. Don't fight to kill, right? Discipline in very friendly ways when there's a mistake, correct with very friendly terms, advise and help people grow, because unless we focus on industrialization, on manufacturing, on creating, on innovation, on IT, and bringing in new concepts, then we have a problem. I have, maybe we'll ask this one later, but I have a very strong online presence in terms of Decibel and showcasing, and I do that personally.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that one why. And I have realized how huge our possibility is as a country.
Yeah.
My wife is here. She can be a witness, because I always read comments in Congo. Congo is French.
Yeah.
And I can't read. And now I have to translate, and they're asking. I can't speak any French. Maybe I could. I would have been a very good point to make a joke, but I can't remember any of them. All right? But they want these products in Ghana, they want them in Uganda, Tanzania, they want Congo, we have Sudan, so all these people. Actually, Ghana is massive in terms of what they want from our markets. Okay? So you can imagine these things, right? I wondered, yesterday I had a client from South Africa. They want to buy a light, then I'm asking them. I thought it's easier to get it from your own country than here. No, that price you are giving us is good price. I think, so we have our inner market when we focus with what we have and encourage in terms of bringing up more goodies, in terms of not even goodies, that's good working environment, then we stand a very good chance of even conquering full East Africa, going to East and Central Africa, going to the whole of Africa, and every other region, because we have the ability and we have the power and the resources as well.
So we've mostly majored on retail and wholesale,
Yeah.
and some bit of distribution due to the retail and wholesale.
Yeah.
Now let's just slightly delve into production, because you've talked about manufacturing, and you have a couple of brands that you are producing.
Yeah.
Are you being able to source locally from local manufacturers, or are you having to go outside?
Now, we don't still have the capacity in terms of most of these things. Like I told you, our niche is quite enclosed. So we still don't have, actually, if there is any, then probably, again, I don't even know of any apart from maybe the speakers. We have local producers. But again, we only have local producers for the cabinets, not for the real drivers, not for the tweeters and the crossovers and stuff. So those ones we still having to import.
Yeah.
And who are the future manufacturers? Are the current business people who are engaging in importing.
Yeah.
Those are the people who will get tired and say, no, we're tired of importing from China, from US, from wherever, from Singapore. We want to do these things here because now we can't continue doing this back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? So we are still importing, but now we are having to contact from abroad because of their capacity, because of their ability to be able to maintain the standard or even make it higher. But our prayer and our wish as a company and as business people is in future to be able to be at least producers of half of what the components of what we sell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to be able, because it comes with a lot of government involvement and with a lot of goodwill from everybody, and from a lot of understanding about the power of being the creator. When you are creating, you have the power, you have the control. But when you are still doing imports, then problems will always be there, and there's no problem with importing. But then again, we have to regulate in terms of, we have to empower ourselves through the things, manufacturing, industrialization and stuff.
Let's talk about, even as we close, market expansion.
Yeah.
So you've talked about Kenya has the capacity.
Yeah.
You're also seeing clients from pretty much, you'd say, sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
What have been how are you managing this sales in different countries? Things like we've seen a lot of currency risk, especially immediately after COVID, and US going through whatever it's going through. So the dollar has been, the rates have been quite hectic, which has really influenced a lot of currency, ourselves, even the Kenyan shilling.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that? How are you pricing your goods against?
Let me be very honest. I don't love being negative all the time. Actually, I don't even love being negative. Kenya is doing good. All right? Compared to most of these other countries, Kenya is really doing good.
Yeah.
But now, why don't we take advantage of that good in terms of, we've seen our shilling from 145, 160, I think I did it when it was, I think 169 even, I think 165 and stuff. Now we're talking about 128.5, 129, 1.9.5. It's like it's there now, 130 there.
Yeah.
And whenever you have these clients from abroad asking you, from abroad now I mean the sub-Saharan Africa, the blah, blah, blahs, they'll always want to hear from your shillings. So they'll ask you, how much is this in blah, blah shillings or in our currency?
Yeah.
And when you answer them, because now you automatically go to the exchange rate and tell them it's this much, then you realize they automatically want to buy. So the next question is always, how can we get it in Congo? How can we get it in here? So that means we are doing good. So how we manipulate now some of these other factors like how do we move the goods from here to these other places?
Yeah.
How hard is it? Because some people just tell them it's not possible. Again, now you find the regulations from the ports, from the borders, from wherever. It's just too tricky and too hard.
Yeah.
So for us, we are just limiting it to local and maybe just a bit of Tanzania and Uganda and the neighboring countries where we can have we can have ease in terms of sending the goods.
Distribution.
But for the other countries, we still have plenty of engagement that has to be done to ease the operations of business in the country.
Lastly,
Yeah.
what are some of the biggest opportunities that you see in your space for yourself, for others, and for anybody who's looking into getting or opening a business in the same line?
In the same line, there is possibility, of course. I don't say this to just make somebody who is doing something else just come into the space.
Yeah.
And I think I'll still reinstate and say that do that which you are passionate about.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I have tried imports of cars. Actually, my first car, not my first, my second car, I imported from Japan. It was a Nissan Note. All right?
Yeah.
It came, and even the van that I have, I also imported. But after that, I just buy cars locally. Okay? I just go to a yard and buy.
Yeah.
Do you know why? I am engaging on something I don't know, something I'm not even passionate about. I'll probably make plenty of mistakes. I'll probably get caught. I'll probably make huge and bad mistakes. So I'd rather just focus with what I know. If it's not part of my passion, part of my prowess in terms of knowledge, let me not do it.
Yeah.
Because again, you find yourself wasting and losing a lot of time doing things or trying out things. And whatever you were doing was working just fine. So it's easier for somebody to perfect the art than to change the art.
Yeah.
So if it's working for you, but for if indeed you know, because it also comes with a plenty of experience. We have been in this business now since 2007. 207, that's we are in 2024. So that's 17 years, 16, 17 years, right? That's a lot of time. So the experience I've had, the challenges I've encountered, the things. So you don't just come unless now you still have the energy to have a span of time that you're able to learn something. Because you don't just come in and pick it from where you've seen some of us being. You don't just say automatically ladder 17 years kill. Start from here. You can't. There are plenty of challenges. There is if this setup right now stops, I am able to handle everything here very fast.
Yeah.
Within microseconds, I'll have known this is the problem. Blah, blah. So that comes with experience. So it's easier to perfect your art than change your art.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling like we've left so much on the table. I think we'll do that's it.
Yeah.
Sawa. Asante for giving us the time.
Thank you so much.
That's it for today. We'll catch you next time on the next episode of What's the Truth. Thank you.